Well met.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft.
It's time for a little blood.
This is the Angry Chicken.
I hope you like my invention.
I've got a huge gun. Reporting for duty.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Angry Chicken, Episode 4, the Hearthstone podcast for, well, everyone. Welcome, I am Garrett Weinzerl, and with me, as almost always, is Willie Dills Gregory. Dills, welcome back, man.
What's up, Garrett?
How was your Vegas trip?
My Vegas trip was too long for Vegas, but extremely fun. It's Vegas is good in like 2-day doses, but when you're there for 6 days, it's a little too much. I'm glad to be back. I actually did play Hearthstone while I was there, though.
I know, I saw you on
Yeah.
a couple times, actually. I was like, oh, Dills, hey, what's up? You're like, well, own a face in the arena, that's what I do.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Hearthstone in bed in a hotel room is a fantastic way to deal with a hangover. I'm just going to say that right now.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Just do that all day, and the hangover cured. Gone.
I used to sit on my couch with my roommates and Battleground in WoW back in the college days. Like if I
There you
was
go.
hungover, it was just all right. Well, I guess I'm chilling in my boxers, just playing Alterac Valley all day. That's what I'm gonna do.
It's not a bad way to, when you're just nursing a hangover, you don't want to do anything. So just laying in bed with my laptop and Hearthstone was fantastic. So
StarCraft,
I actually
by the
had
way.
some pretty good runs too.
Oh, okay, nice. StarCraft is a terrible either drunk
Oh,
or
dude.
hungover game. By the way,
No way.
no one should be required to think that fast and act that fast while under the influence of anything.
Yeah, your APMs go way down when you're nursing a hangover.
Exactly, or they go way up, but they're doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just clicking a lot.
I decided to type an essay while also in the game of StarCraft, so my APM's at 300, but nothing's happening. My workers are actually stopped; they're not even mining.
What's pretty sick though about it too was that even though I was in Vegas, I was still keeping diligent stats of my Hearthstone runs. I have a separate spreadsheet that's just my Vegas runs, and I'm eventually going to combine the two so that I have the full list. But I'm a sick man, Garrett. That's all I got to say.
Have you seen the fan who's been making cards for each of us?
Oh yeah, Beardman. That's Beardman
Yeah.
Comics. Have you checked out his actual his comics?
I haven't yet. He's a webcomic
No?
artist.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're amazing. Actually, they're really good.
Oh, that's awesome. He just rounded out the set last night with me, I guess.
Yeah, I saw that he tweeted that today. So I think it's just beardmancomics.com.
No, cool. We'll go check it out. He's been making Hearthstone cards for
each
the
of us,
host
yeah.
of this show. Now you may be saying, "Hey, wait a minute, slow down, guys. Where the hell is Jocelyn?" She couldn't make it today. She did the Extra Life Gaming Marathon yesterday for charity, as I'm sure a lot of people heard because she was promoting it on the show, and she got a total of I think 3 hours of sleep. So
Yeah, if that. I mean,
Yeah.
apparently she was up until 9 a.m. her time, and we played for a good hour and a half, 2 hours or so. And then she went immediately off to go play Borderlands 2, and she was nuts yesterday. So I think I know they raised over $4,000 by the time we were streaming. So
Yeah,
it was
I've got
a successful day.
Yeah, I actually have a note for her here. She wanted to make sure that we
cool.
we mentioned this at the top of the show where she would normally have said it. She wanted to make sure to thank Doghouse for sponsoring her Extra Life Marathon. She wanted to thank you, Dills, and all the other guests for contributing, and A-Move TV for the stream, which is funny because that's like me, and she's on it all the time already. And I was like, you don't need to do that. She's like, no, you thank yourself. You thank yourself. So she said that they
Good job,
raised over $4,000 for the Children's Miracle Network. And also wanted to make sure that everyone knows that because of the DDoS attacks by soulless evil bastards on the Extra Life site, there were a total of 4 apparently. It brought down the
They
site for
kept
most of
going
the
down
day.
throughout the day. It was terrible.
Yeah, but you want to let people know that donations are still coming in. You can actually donate all the way until December 31st as a result of all this. So don't worry. You can still donate if you haven't for whatever reason.
And you should. If you haven't, you should. It's a great cause, and we had a lot of fun playing games and talking about it. And then, soulless people who are going to hell tried to mess things up, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't mess things up. We still everyone still did positive things yesterday. So
Yeah,
it's a lot
absolutely.
of fun.
It's good stuff. So, well, I'm hot off of a wedding. Kyle from Starcast tied the knot last night to his longtime girlfriend.
My condolences, Kyle.
No,
congratulations. Sorry,
to them.
congratulations. Yes.
When the father of the bride stood up and started giving a Dungeons and Dragons speech, from the perspective of someone who has clearly played it their entire life, I was like, okay, this is
great.
why Kyle's girlfriend is a perfect match for him.
That is great. Awesome.
So, yeah, it was a lot of fun and nerdy as all get out. They're wedding rings, D20 rings. They're on a rotor and you can spin it and it'll land on an integer between 1 and 20.
Really? You can actually roll them?
Yep.
Holy crap.
Yep.
So now I know this is how they're going to settle all arguments from here on out. It's going to be, all right, whose turn is it to do the dishes? Well, just got to roll on it. See what happens.
I got a natural 20. Shit. I guess I'm doing the dishes all week.
I'm doing the dishes forever. Critical hit.
Wonderful. So there's my little story at the top of the show. But hey, dude, it is the week before BlizzCon, and we've got a lot of Hearthstone to chat about. So let's get right into the news of the week. Kicking it off as I feel like we should have every week with a story about a Chinese Hearthstone ripoff.
Yeah, which I want actually. How do I get this?
I, for a split second, had the same reaction. And then I realized, well, it's not actually Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Even though it's a blatant lift.
Well, it would really test your knowledge of the cards to this point, because I remember watching that little video and being like, oh, there's a mirror image. Oh, there's Fiery War Axe. Okay, so like even though it's Chinese, I might be able to actually play the game. I think I could actually pull it off. I think I know enough about the cards just based on like, the values and stuff to be able to pull it off. But it looks pretty funny.
I feel like I would run into the same issue that I'm sure people who play the WoW TCG are having right now, because they see the cards with the exact same art that was in a WoW TCG card, and they're just like, oh, it's that card, and then they play it and they're like, oh wait, no, that's totally not what it does.
Yeah, it doesn't do that actually. Never mind.
Yeah,
I love how China is just like, they just do not care. They're like, oh, that thing is cool. Okay, we'll make our version of it.
Yeah,
like, they just do not give a crap. They have their own Disneyland, their own it's awesome.
Yeah, so if you're wondering, the game is called Sleeping Dragon: Heroes of Three Kingdoms. The UI and everything, it's just a blatant lift from Hearthstone. They didn't even bother changing the music. The music is exactly the same. But
it's like literally the same.
Yeah, but props to them, because it's already working natively on phones and tablets over there. So, I guess enjoy it while it lasts. I have a feeling like, I don't know, orcs and ninja costumes will be rappelling through their roof very soon.
I think they're just going to get away with it. I don't think. I think Blizzard just has to let this stuff go. I don't think they have any choice. It's China. What are you going to do?
Yeah. I remember I went to art college, for those of you who don't know, and I remember one of my professors being super ticked because he found out that a bunch of his illustrations were being used in some major publication over in China. Like someone sent him a copy.
Just put him in there.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It was just a ton of his work, and he's just like, "Where's my check?"
Well, you know what's great about this though is that it actually works on tablets and stuff. So, come on, Blizzard. Like, they got it to work. Some weird Chinese ripoff company got it to work. Let's get this going. I'm ready. I'm ready to not have to use Splash Top anymore. I want to just play the real version of the game. So.
I'm ready to not be tempted to get Splash Top on a daily basis. That's what I'm ready.
It's really not that bad. It's not that expensive.
I know, but I feel like two things are happening. A, I'm saving money, and B, it's restricting the amount of time I play a game that I already play far too much.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's definitely true. I mean, I think I streamed Hearthstone yesterday for 12 hours, and yeah, that's what Hearthstone's doing to me right now.
That's
pretty
awesome,
bad.
Actually.
It is actually awesome. I was totally happy to do it. I was like, yes, please. I will do this every day if I could.
I was on the road for 6 hours, 2 of which were spent in 0-mile-an-hour deadlock. So I would have liked to have been streaming Hearthstone for 12 hours. That sounds like a much better.
This is why, like, Hearthstone on the iPad, if you got like 3G or something like that, you're in the car. Oh my God, it would be the best. I actually did play on the way to Vegas with hotspot on my phone, my computer. But the problem is I don't have, like, if I had a MacBook Air, it would have been fine. But I have like a regular MacBook that just died after 2 hours. So a 10-hour drive, and I got 2 hours of Hearthstone out of it. So
oh geez, still nonetheless.
And then the rest of the time I just sat there pining for it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So anyways, yeah. So go check that out or don't, or shake your fist at
Or
it angrily, whichever you want to
Be
do.
mad at them.
How dare you? But yeah, I guess another news BlizzCon is next week. We were all kind of, I'm not sure if we all were. I know a lot of my nerdy friends are actually not into music at all, but I'm a big music guy. And
Not into music.
yeah, it's you should listen to any of the shows with Kyle from Starcast.
Okay.
He is not into music whatsoever.
You know what I don't get about that? Like being nerdy is just like people who are into sports, they're just nerds. Like everyone's just being a nerd about something. I don't
Right.
and to me it's like if you're nerdy about anything, like music kind of fits right into that. I don't know. Like have you ever like been sitting like at a show and if you go, "Hey, if you took the instruments out of those guys' hands, we'd basically all be a bunch of dudes watching four dudes gyrate weirdly." And but we all think this is normal.
Well,
None of us think this is weird.
Dills, you just illustrated the reason I have no respect for rap or techno artists.
Because you have taken.
Because you've taken the instruments out of their hands.
Right?
If I wanted to listen to someone speaking rhyme on stage, I'd go to a Dr. Seuss presentation. That's what
There
I'd
you
do.
go. Yeah, poetry reading.
Once our reviews from rap fans.
Yeah, all rap fans hate us now.
I like Eminem a little bit sometimes if I'm in the mood. So, anyways, so the band for BlizzCon got announced, and it's Blink-182, and I'm quite excited actually. I think the only band I would have been more excited for would be like Green Day or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's not going to happen, but this is pretty cool. Apparently, Mark Hoppus does play WoW, or had played WoW at some point. So.
Okay, I follow him on Twitter. I know right now he's deep into the Pokemans.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's got some nerdiness to him. I'm going to go see it. I'm definitely going to watch it. Scott was saying on the instance that he was like, "Oh, I don't care about this," but I was like, it might just be a little like you just kind of missed Blink-182 by like a year or two.
Yeah.
But you know, like later Blink-182 stuff, not that great. Early stuff, really good. So I'm excited. I'm definitely excited.
I'm stoked. My girlfriend and I are both pretty big fans. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, if I
She's going to be there too, right? So you guys will both be able to check it out?
yeah, she just got about 10 times more excited for BlizzCon. Because she does play, but she's very casual, and then she's like, wait, one of my favorite bands is closing it out. Hell to the yes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm excited about this for sure. I mean, yeah, you know, I was trying to convince Scott. I was like, Scott, look, just go. And he was like, yeah, but I don't like concerts, and I don't really like. And I was like, come on, man, like, just be a cool guy right now.
They're good live, regardless if you're into
Well, exactly.
the
That's
music
what
or
I
not.
hear. Yeah.
Yeah, like the Foo Fighters. I like the Foo Fighters. Not something I listened to a lot growing up, but I went and watched them, and they were damn good the last BlizzCon. So I don't know. It's fun. I didn't want to call Scott out, but I was listening to the instance this past week, and I was like, Scott, your old man is showing.
Yeah, don't be an old man right now. Don't you not want to be an old man? This is the way to do it. Go to a show.
Yep, and now Katie and I, my girlfriend, are referring to their hit single as "All the Little Things." Thanks to Scott. So
Yeah, that song, All the Little
it
Things.
very quickly became an in joke. So there is that. And more pertinent Hearthstone news, Curse actually got to sit down and interview two of the Hearthstone devs, Eric Dodds and Jason Chase, this past week. And there was some interesting stuff that came out of this. You can see the full video over on hearthpwn.com, just PWN, as a elite person would spell it. But the first thing they kind of bullet listed here was, how do you arrive at specific changes when balancing classes? And they said that they pull from different sorts of places, like statistics from the player base, ranging from what cards you have in your deck to win/loss ratios. They also said that they also pull from their internal high-level player base. And honestly, I was reading this. I'm like, this sounds a lot like their answers to StarCraft when they're talking about balance.
Yeah. I mean, they put stuff out. They think it's right, and then pretty quickly they know if it isn't or not. And this is still beta. I mean, we're playing it like it's not at this point. The people who do have keys and everything, but a lot's going to change by the time this hits. So I was talking about it last night. I still think that a lot needs to be changed about mind control. I think mind control is crazy right now. 10 mana, maybe. I don't know.
10 mana for mind control?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's so brutal. I mean, it's so brutal.
It is, but like I feel it brings such a beautiful meta to the game. Like you need if you have that guy that's your finisher, it requires you to put other kind of scary things in there to bait it out.
Sure, sure. But you can't really build a deck just to play one class. And if everyone's building a deck to play one class, that class is overpowered. You know what I mean? Like, you should be like, every class should be kind of like, okay, well, I have this kind of deck that works against whoever. But the fact that like everyone is worried about one class and one card in that class's deck is just a bad sign.
I guess that's a good point. I've still been playing a lot of Rogue, and I feel like Rogue just
Well,
dismantles
Rogue
priests.
Rogue
Because-
is like the natural counter to it because you have nothing higher than 4.
Exactly. I'm like,
costs.
you take my 2/4 gnome that draws me a card, and now it's not going to draw you a card because you can't ping it back into your hand. Enjoy. Have a good time.
Yeah, yeah. There's they put all these big brutal cards in the game, like these big epics and or legendaries and whatever, right? And then they put this one card in that, like, for 8 mana, you can just take it. So it's like you basically swung. Like, not only did you kill his 8 mana card, or in the case of Deathwing, his 10 mana card. Not only did I kill his 10 mana card, I now have it. I played a 10 mana card. So I killed a card that cost 10 mana, played a card that cost 10 mana, and it cost me 8 mana. I even get to heal in that turn, too. So that, to me, is a little sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree, and the Deathwing specifically, it's so utterly defeating because you also just burned your hand.
Yeah,
and now the
he burned his hand, and then I just said, "Hey, thank you very much. All right,
cool. I've got 4 cards and a Deathwing now.
yeah,
Enjoy.
and a Deathwing, and I'm going to heal myself back to full." I mean, it was that poor guy. You know, I'm sure he just completely rage quitted, threw his keyboard on the ground, and
See, in Constructed, I can't help but just react to it like, well, you shouldn't have played the card when you know when you haven't seen 2 mind controls come up. But in
it's
Arena,
true. Arena though, it's
I
brutal.
totally, yeah. I
Yeah,
totally
because you can
agree.
have. I had a deck that had 3 of them one time, and I played 2, and the guy's like, "Okay, probably doesn't have any more. Hopefully, he doesn't have any more." And then, no, I got 1 more. So,
Right.
yeah, it's maybe make it a rare. That might work too, because then you'll see it less in Arena. I don't know. It's tough.
That is
That's
a good
one
point.
of those things where I'm like, I don't know. I don't envy Blizzard having to make choices like this, because it makes sense. And it's not completely game breaking, but there are certain scenarios where it's pretty bad.
Right. And they do already have Shadow Word Death, which takes care of anything over 5
It's
attack.
true. Yeah, priests right now have every answer to everything,
Yeah, 'cause-
except four attack cards. Which is like, I keep hearing this argument, and I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, let's all make decks with nothing but 4 attack cards. Really? Like, that's the answer? No, that's not the answer. Like, we can't all just make just full of Chillwind Yetis. Like, that's all we have now. I'm sorry, no.
True. But all of my examples basically go back to my Rogue deck, which I guess doesn't really add any more to the conversation. So,
Yeah.
coming back to the interview, one of the things they brought up that I was so happy was at least mentioned was about the ranked matchmaking system.
Oh, yeah.
Curse was asking, how exactly does it work? They said that it's based on an internal rating, and to a lesser extent, how many games you have played. They said that having games played counting towards your rank helps people not move through the system too quickly, which I've definitely noticed since the wipe. I've been stuck at 2-star diamond for weeks now.
Really?
Yeah, and like this past week, I went on a 7-game winning streak in ranked. I won 7 games in a row. I didn't drop a single game, and I still didn't get a star. I'm like, what the
Wow.
crap?
Okay.
And some of them are really close games. It wasn't like the guy I was playing was a scrub.
Do you know how many total wins you have at this point in play mode?
I'm in the upper 80s, I believe.
Okay. So I'm wondering, because I hit the 3-star master, I felt like it was pretty quick. I mean, I didn't feel like I played very much.
Maybe if you marathon it real early on, it's easier. 'Cause you're not
Yeah,
playing against
I don't
other
know. Again, I've heard
Yeah.
lots of things. I've heard lots of different things. Like, oh, it takes exactly this many. Oh, it takes. I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah, because right after the wipe, that first week after the wipe, I had almost no time that week. It was just crazy.
Well, I do think there is some sort of kind of backwards motion that we just don't see. Like, you don't actually see it go away, but there is a little bit of a backwards momentum that can happen. So if you lose a bunch and it takes longer or something, I do think that's in there. We just don't see it. It's
yeah,
not
well, that's why I
noticeable.
like the StarCraft ladder, because it's you're basically thrown into a mini ladder with 200 other people, and you can see your rank among those 200 depending on what league you're in. So you're like in gold, and there's 200 other guys in that gold league, and you're like, oh, I'm 46 in this gold league, and you can, as you lose, you go down, as you win, you go up. But then you also get this this bonus pool effect, where if you haven't played for a few days, you get bonus pool, so you actually move up higher per win, and it helps you kind of keep up if you don't have as much time to play as other guys.
Yeah, I would like that too. I would like to know exactly where I'm at. You know,
Right.
Clash of Clans does that as well. It's like, oh, you're in this one now, and here are all the other people who are in it, and you can see yourself moving up and down that ranking. So I have 118 wins in play mode.
Okay, so I'm not that far behind you.
No, and I think I got there probably. I mean, because once I got there, I've played more of it since I've gotten there because I've been trying to get ready for tournaments and stuff. So I don't know. I guess it probably took me like 90 wins or so, I would say. And then 385 arena wins. Yeah, okay, it's pretty obvious what I play more of.
300. Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, sir.
Play a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, they even went on to say that the developers are currently not satisfied with the ranking system as it stands, and they're working on changes, which made me so happy because I'm not satisfied with the current ranking system.
No, I don't think anybody really is. I mean, right now, it's funny because you'll see on Reddit, people will say, check out my 3-star master paladin deck. And everyone's like, yeah, we don't care that you're 3-star master. That just means you played a lot. Like, it doesn't mean that you're good at the game. It just means you played enough. You know?
In StarCraft, it's people say like, oh, don't listen to the ladder in StarCraft, but it is, I feel like, a much better indication of your skill level, especially if you're in Masters or Grandmasters. You're clearly not just 6 pooling every game. Yeah. But at this moment in Hearthstone, I kind of agree with that notion. I feel like it's just like, okay, well, you apparently have more time on your hands.
I'm going to pretend like I know what 6 pooling is, and then we'll continue on.
It's when you're a Zerg, when you're a Zerg and you make no other workers and you drop your pool right away and make 6 slings and just rush them and hope everything goes well.
Oh, okay. So it's like turn 1 scrub.
Exactly. Okay. Except that is no longer that big of a deal.
No, it really isn't.
Yeah, my rogue deck actually doesn't have any Defius ringleaders in there anymore.
Yeah. You know what I've seen though that's like ridiculous is the turn 1 coin flame imp blood imp. Have you seen this yet?
Yes, I have.
It's pretty brutal.
I don't like it at all.
It's pretty brutal. Or I've seen turn 1 flame imp, which is also almost. I mean, that's worse than coin scrub, except for the fact that they've taken 4 damage at this point. But nobody cares.
But Warlock, they have so many other cards that restore health upon killing your guys. Yeah. It just doesn't.
You know what would suck though is if you do that and then Warrior just plays Cleave and kills both of them like that. Like
right, and that is why it's not as bad. There are ways to deal with it. You know, Shaman could do Fork Lightning.
Shaman could do Fork Lightning, but the problem with Fork Lightning is it overloads your next turn, and your next turn is screwed.
True,
because it's 2 overload, right? It's 2 overload.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, we should actually do this one of these days. We should talk about all the possible turn 1 plays.
We're going to get a little bit into it today in our strategy talk because
we're doing one. Yeah, we're doing one, but that's a very specific one. Yeah. So this would be an interesting topic, I think.
I wasn't sure if it was gonna warrant its own strategy discussion. As I started diving into the card, I'm like, oh damn, this is going to be its own thing today. Yeah.
Turn 1 succubus. Actually, somebody just said. I mean, you discard one of your cards, but a warlock doesn't really care about that. That's not bad. That's pretty tough.
I've had that happen to me more than once now, and it's a great, well, what are you going to do now move? Because if they don't have something to answer to it, it is awful.
Yeah.
And so I've had
no, succubus is a 4/3 for 2 mana, but you lose a card as well. And it's a random card, so you don't know what you're going to lose, which is kind of scary about that mechanic for warlocks. And so basically it's, except for Millhouse Mana Storm, which is a 4/4 for 2 mana, it's the strongest 2 mana card you can play, right? So
yeah, and you know the other thing I've had happen, I've seen them do that and then turn 2 play power overwhelming. So I've already been smacked for 12 damage.
I would never do that.
2 turns.
I would never do that. I would never power overwhelming my 4/3 and then lose him on the next turn just to get more damage.
Yeah,
because you just lose control of the board too quickly. I
want to say the one deck I saw them do it in, it was like, I want to say it was a Murloc Warlock. So they did that. They opened with that, and then they started flooding Murlocs, and it was just this ridiculous burn deck.
Yeah. If that's your deck style. So Power Overwhelming is like Blessing of Kings, but for 1 mana, so it gives +4/4. But what it also does is it kills it
The next
on
turn.
the very next turn. There's kind of a weird thing about that. So if like, it's weird to me that it gives the 4 health too, because it's almost like, why not just give the 4 attack, because it's going to die anyway, right?
Utterly pointless.
But
It doesn't
here's
matter.
the reason why it does matter. Because you can then play a Void Terror and soak up that Power Overwhelming stats,
Okay, never mind.
Void
Not
Terror,
utterly
so-
pointless. I hadn't even thought about that. That I have not seen that happen to me, but oh man, I'd be cussing up a storm if that happened to
That
me.
you know what, that play, I made a deck just to do that play. So what Void Terror does is if you put it down, it's a 3-mana 3/3. So in a lot of ways it's like mind control, or what's the dude that takes one of the, if you have 4 or more minions on the other side?
Mind control tech.
Oh, mind control tech. Yeah, okay. So I was right.
That's a gnome that if your opponent has more than 4 minions, you mind
You
control
take
one of
one
them
of them,
at
yeah.
random.
Yeah.
It's actually
but
not a
Void
bad
Terror-
card.
It's not, but the problem is it's most of the time it's just a 3-mana 3/3 that does nothing else, because it's very rare that the other guy's gonna have 4 minions on the board if you're playing a strong game. If you're like losing, yeah. But anyway, it's a 3-mana 3/3 that will take each minion on either side of it, and then basically just eat them both and take all of their power and toughness. So to me, it's a little bit like it's putting all your eggs in one basket, which is the problem. And once you do that, then the other guy like sheeps it or something, and you're like, oh, okay.
Exactly. If anything happens to that card, you've 3-for-1'd yourself.
Yeah, yeah. If they big game hunter it, if they mind control it, if they sheep it, if they hex it, anything, then the worst thing or the best thing that could happen there is he naturalizes it and you get 2 cards out of it.
What you would need for that to be worth it, in my opinion, is something like what Magic the Gathering has, which is indestructible. Which in the current set we're seeing a lot of with the God cards.
Really? Indestructible? What?
Yeah, it is unaffected by really anything. I think the only thing that can remove those cards is anything that says like destroys target permanent.
Really?
It can't be killed by damage.
So like another creature can't even kill it?
Nope.
What the crap? See, that's way too powerful. That they couldn't do that in Hearthstone, I don't think.
Well,
I think if they could if you could give it like what the fairy dragon has, where spells can't remove it, then you'd be talking, because then you'd be forced to like trade minions,
True.
But that would be crazy. You're like, yeah, here's my big old dude who's indestructible. What are you gonna do now?
Right. But the fact that like every class has a card that just straight up kills something regardless of what it is, I think you need something like that to where these cards that you want to soak enchantments into or suck up other minions to buff them become actually worth playing.
Yeah.
Right now it's a huge gamble.
Yeah, right now, but you still see it all the time. People chuck like 4 cards into 1 minion. I see it constantly, especially with like priests. Like they're
It's
like,
so tempting.
I'll do this. I'll Power Word Shield, then I'll Divine Spirit, then I'll whatever. And it's like, oh my god, and then I'm gonna sheep it. Okay, good night.
Yeah. Granted, that one time when I don't have an answer for it, it sucks. But
I know.
9 times out of 10, I have an answer for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
But I mean, they've definitely got their work cut out for them as far as how did we start talking about this? We're talking about matchmaking, by the way.
Somehow
they've got
we
their work
just
cut out for them, but I'm holding out for the rewards. I want some sort of a ranking system that rewards you every week.
exactly.
I think that's where they're going. I hope that's where they're going, but we'll see.
Yeah, sounds. I would almost hope it's like based on wins or something. Well, I guess then it'd be harder if you were in a higher league. Never mind. I would like a longer. I don't want it to reset just every week for some reason in my mind.
But they don't have to reset it. They could just reward you for like how much you've done. Like it's kind of like okay, so you can earn this many valor points in a week, right? Of rating or whatever. Like if they had some sort of thing where like at the end it's like you've earned these certain number of like play points or whatever it might be. And if you've won a lot more, then you've gotten more of them. And then here's a pack of cards and some gold and dust. That would be something to keep people playing in play mode, and it would feel less grindy, because then at the end of the week it's like, oh, cool, here it is. Like I'm not grinding, now I can just suddenly play like 3 arena runs or something.
Yeah,
So,
but if it's based on something like wins, if you're at the Grand Master, you probably have slightly less of a win ratio than someone in lower leagues. But the people
Maybe.
they're beating might not be a high enough rank that warrants them moving up.
yeah,
That's why
No,
I'm saying
yeah.
it might not necessarily work out like that.
Yeah, but they could be like a win could be worth more or something at that level, you know?
Yeah. So I'm really curious to see where they go with it because there's a ton of potential. Because at the moment they're doing literally nothing with it.
Yeah,
So-
no, it's true. Like I don't even know why it's there right now. The way it works,
It's
it's
so
just
people
there 'cause
on
they had to do something.
it's so
right?
people on Reddit can go 3-star masters. Yeah, that's what
3-star
they do.
master, dude. Like, yeah, okay, cool.
They also said they also asked the Blizzard devs what they thought the community wanted most right now, and they said spectator mode. People want to be
Yeah.
able to watch other people's games,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to hear this because
I mean, it's the number one thing. Everyone's just like, we got to have the spectator mode and the great thing about people asking for this is that means that people want this to be an esport. They want to see tournaments. They want to watch tournaments. And this game is really good for streaming because of the fact that it moves slow. The pace is quick and slow. If you think about it, like each game is fairly quick, but the pace of like each move is slow enough that you can sit and talk about it. It's like baseball. Like in baseball, on the radio works really well because you can sit and you can talk about what's going on.
right.
Hearthstone on stream works really well because you can sit and kind of talk about what's going on. And unless you have someone casting StarCraft, I'm completely lost. Like if I'm just watching a guy play it, I have no clue what's going on. So Hearthstone is actually really good because of the fact that it gives like the caster the ability to say, let me think about what I'm going to do right now. Oh, I could do this. I could do this.
Yeah,
And-
I'm really curious to see how they're going to show the gameplay at the Hearthstone tournament at BlizzCon. Are they just going to have two screens showing both players?
They could do that. I think that would actually be the way to go and have the players kind of in those little StarCraft like, gravity chambers or whatever. Like
They're soundproof booths.
yeah,
is what they
those
are, so
little
they can't
booths
hear
that they
the
go to.
so they can't hear the casters.
Yeah. And then they put the big thing up, and then Total Biscuit, is cynical about it all. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I just small mention. Total Biscuit and Kevin Naki are both casting the Hearthstone Invitational. I like Kevin Naki quite a lot. He before IPL, the IGN Pro League, which was a big StarCraft tournament, kind of went belly up.
Yeah.
And then Blizzard bought them and kind of absorbed the staff. Kevin Naki was a caster for them, and he does a great job.
Saban just said that he watched me and Jocelyn play yesterday, where he was watching both streams, and like it was pretty cool because he would come in mine and be like, oh, this is awesome, like blah blah, and like he wasn't like telling me what she was doing or anything. That's at least what we're telling her. But it sounded like it was a cool way to watch. Like you see both players' hands and stuff, and you kind of know like what's happening. So I kind of hope that is what we get.
That's what it has to be. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't imagine if you watch the major poker tournament every year and you can only see one dude's hand.
Well, they try to do like the live thing where you didn't see the hands, right? And then they would flip them over, and it did not translate at all. Like it was so boring because the commentators are like, "Well, I think he might have this," and it's just like, "Well, you don't know though."
Which is
And-
exactly what we're having to do right now with Hearthstone.
Yeah. And I would definitely like to I would enjoy casting a game where I knew both players' hands because then I could be like, oh, he's gonna do this, but he has no idea that the other guy has that. It's there's just so many more things to discuss and strategy that you can pick apart if you know both players' hands. So
Oh yeah. As soon as there's a spectator mode, by the way, we're gonna talk to some sponsors, get a prize pool, and do a Angry Chicken Invitational.
Oh hell yeah, Angry Chicken Invitational, it's on. Can I enter it though?
No, I need a co-caster. Get
All
on
right,
this. Come on.
we're gonna cast it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Get cast alone. God, what is this? The beginning of StarCraft 2? Jeez. Nobody casts alone anymore.
No, it's true. You gotta have your color commentator, and you gotta have your play-by-play guy.
The
right?
stats guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So awesome. You can see that the full on interview over at hearthpwn.com. Again, go check that out. But I think it's time for a little strategy talk, Dills. What do you think?
Let's do it. I'm down. I'm ready.
All right. Well,
This has been a big topic, by the way. This particular card.
Exactly. This was a topic suggested by @RepGrinder on Twitter, who's has a little bit of a issue with a certain card in the game, specifically the Northshire Cleric, which is a 1 mana, 1/3 attack and health card, priest only, and it has a effect on it that whenever a friendly minion is healed, or is it friendly or is it any minion?
No, it's any minion. Whenever any minion is healed.
I apologize. Whenever any
we should
minion
actually, let's pull up the actual card.
I have the link right here for that very reason, so I didn't do
cool.
what I just did. Yes, it's whenever a minion is healed, draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's like some crazy combos you can do with like, what is it? Circle of Healing heals every minion on the board. Like you could draw.
It only counts.
8 cards.
Yeah, it only counts if the minion is damaged.
Yes,
if you're healing.
You can't heal a full health minion. Yeah.
Right. So you need a damage outlet is what I started calling it. I personally, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, I think this is the strongest one drop in the game.
Okay. I think that you should never play it on 1.
Really?
Yeah. I never play this on 1. And the reason I never play this on 1 is because if you're playing a good player, you're not getting a card out of it, ever.
I guess that is a good point. I guess I've been playing not good players.
If you're playing a bad player, and then on the next turn, they drop a Leper Gnome, then yeah.
Happy days.
Then you're like, okay, I'm going to win this game 100% of the time. But the thing is that it's not going to... So I had one guy play, and I think some of the people who are in our chat right now were in my stream yesterday, and they saw some guy drop one on turn 1 and then interfire it on turn 2 and make it a 3/3, right? And then play... what else did he play? He played like a Worgen or something like that right afterwards, and then
the Raging Worgen.
Yeah.
By the way, the Raging Worgen is a 3/3, and if it's damaged, it gains +1 attack and Wind Fury, making it like
Wind Fury, so it can attack twice.
So like a 4/2, so you can deal 8 damage with it.
Yeah. So then on the next, so what he did was he played the Northshire Cleric, right?
Okay.
Basically, I just passed. I didn't play anything. Then he made it a 3/3. And at that point, I put I did the spell, was it like Blessing of Wisdom or something like that? I put the spell on, I was a paladin. I put the spell on it where every time it attacks, I get a card.
I believe that's
basically
Blessing of Wisdom,
yeah. So basically I said, here, go ahead and attack me with that thing. I'll take a card every time in exchange for 3 damage to my character, right? So basically I'm like a crappy warlock at that point. Then I coin Hammer of Wrath the Worgen, and everyone in my chat was like, what the hell? Why didn't you kill the Northshire Cleric? And I was like, because I don't want to kill it. I want him to keep giving me cards. Like, I don't care that he's got a Northshire Cleric out. As long as I never play something that has less than 3 attack, he can never get a card. He never got a card out of that Cleric. Not one.
Yeah.
And basically, I just never played anything that had less than 3 attack. And I just kept getting cards off of it, and then I killed it, and then I won the game. It was like, it's just, you can't fall into the trap of the Northshire Cleric if you're the opponent. You see it all the time. They drop it, and then you go, oh my god, what do? I got to put something out there so I can start to get it off. Let me hero power it. Like, no, don't, just leave it. Just leave it until turn 4 when you can drop a Yeti. And then
especially if it's not buffed, it's doing 1 damage.
Yeah,
just
it's fine.
Let it happen. Just calm down.
Yeah. So I like some of the arguments about it, like, oh yes, they play a Leper Gnome, it kills a Leper Gnome. Yeah, but you just don't do that. Like, even if you're a shaman, just don't even totem. Don't even give it a chance to do its thing.
I guess I was so stoked because I've been playing for whatever reason, I got multiple Murloc Warlocks this past week. This card is just wonderful against Murloc Warlocks. Like, cool, I can trade for him, heal it, get a card. Just sit there and cry, Warlock. Sit there and cry.
Yeah, it's definitely not terrible. I'm not saying like, oh, don't do it. It's the worst 1 drop ever. But what I really think is that you're never going to win against a good player playing this on turn 1. What you want to do is you want to play it right before you drop a Holy Nova or Darkscale Healer and heal like 3 of your guys. Like, you want to get that value where you immediately get like 3 cards out of it, because that's just gonna destroy your opponent. So
Yeah, and if you do have some of your buffs in your priest deck, there's a good chance you're going to have multiple guys on the board that are still alive but damaged.
yes, yeah, and also if you play like a control-y style, which a priest generally does, a priest isn't going to necessarily be an aggro type of style unless you have like a bunch of mind blasts and Malagos in your deck. But basically, like you'll probably have damaged minions on the board because you'll be trading and trying to keep stuff alive, you know?
Right.
So you keep doing that, and then like you trade somebody where you're left with 1 health on your guy, and then you heal it after you're dropping the Northshire Cleric, and it only costs 1 mana to drop. So generally, you can drop it and heal in the same turn pretty easily.
Yeah,
so.
you want to play it like I think I'm not sure if it was last week or the week before where I was talking about the Gadget Sand Auctioneer, where I have it in a lot of my decks, but I never drop it unless I can at least draw 1 card off of it in the same
Exactly.
turn. But
Exactly.
The thing that's awesome about the Northshire Cleric in comparison to the Gadget Sand Auctioneer is the Northshire Cleric only costs 1 mana.
No, it's true. It's 1 mana and it's got 3 health. So I think it's okay. Here's where I think it's okay to drop on 1. If you have something to back it up, if you have some way to back that play up, then you're fine. Because if you drop it on turn 1 and then they turn around and they drop like a raptor or something, like you have no way to get some damage done and then keep it alive, right? You're pretty much done. But if you can then Shadow Word paint it, that raptor off, keep your Northshire Cleric alive, then you're fine. I think it's fine to do when you have something in your hand that you can back that play up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's also something to be said for the reverse meta of dropping it early so that you know they won't drop any 2/1s or
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
1/1s or something. Well,
I do
what's
that
even a
too.
1/1, but
I definitely do that type of stuff too. Like I'll if I'm playing a mage, I'll try to bait him to use his hero power on a minion. That way he doesn't play like a 5-drop on 5. He plays a 3-drop on 5 because he used 2 of his mana for his hero ability. You know, that kind of stuff is like, you know, just it's a good strategy to try to keep the board manageable for you. Bait out certain things.
yeah, and there's multiple ways to deal with it. Rep Grinder didn't mention like what his main deck is.
Well, what did he say about it? Did he just say?
I'm trying to, I didn't actually link to the tweet like an idiot. So
That's all right. I was just curious to know what his thoughts on it were.
and we have far too many tweets for me to find this in a
Yeah, it's true.
Reasonable amount
Which
of
is
time.
a good
so
thing. Which is a good thing.
I just remember I think it pretty much just boiled down to, hey, 1/3 with a ton of card draw. What do you think?
Yeah. And there's been a lot of debate about this card. Like, is it too strong? Is it dumb to play it on turn 1? Is it good? I hear like a lot of people say, "Oh my god, always play it on turn 1." And then I hear a lot of people say, "Never play it on turn 1."
Yeah.
My thinking is just if you play it on turn 1 and you're playing a good opponent, you're not going to get the value. You're not going to get a single card out of it. So you got to be careful of that.
Right, exactly. It so much depends on who you're playing against too. Say you're on turn 1, but you got to go second, and you're playing against like a Warlock, and he drops a Murloc. Hell yeah, drop that thing just right away. Like, oh, sweet, he's going for Murlocs. There's going to be a lot of 1 health guys
Yeah,
with only
it's
2
true.
damage on the board. Let's do this.
By the way, the people in the chat are telling me to tell you about this too. I remember two shows ago I said I'd never play a Murloc deck, right?
Did you succumb to the dark side?
Well, here's what I did. I trolled Jocelyn in our first game.
Oh God, you
I
did.
played a Murloc deck. Because when I opened all those cards, I got apparently the last Murloc I didn't have, I guess. So then I got the Murloc Legendary because that's how you get it. Like once you have all the Murlocs, you get it.
Oh,
So
wait, really?
I
I didn't know that. So it's like an
you don't
achievement?
you don't actually get it. It's like an achievement. So like once you have all the other ones, then you just suddenly have it. It's like the parrot for pirates. Once you get all the pirate cards, you get that little parrot card.
I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah. So I got the last Murloc I needed, I guess, and it was like, hey, congratulations, here's old Merc guy. And basically what it is, it's a charge that has +1 attack for every Murloc on the board. So like you already probably have the board loaded with Murlocs. Then you check this guy down and he charges for like 12.
What deck did you use?
A Warlock,
Oh,
obviously.
Warlock. Okay, gotcha.
So basically, I'd never played this deck before. I was just like, okay, well, let's build a Murloc deck, and I was like, okay, Murloc. Like there's no brain power that goes into playing a Murloc deck at all. It's
What do I
just
have the
put
mana
every
for?
card- yeah, every card that says Murloc goes in, and then you're like, well, what else do I need? Oh, probably Blood Imps, and like it doesn't really even matter what else you take. So basically, I played the Murloc deck against her turn one or first game, and won in like 5 turns or something like that. And
Oh
she
my
cried.
god,
But
that's wow.
I
Chat room
felt so
saying
dirty.
the chat room saying that you drove her to drink.
Yeah, I think it was my fault. I drove myself to drink too with that. I felt so dirty. I just had to erase the memory of playing a Murloc deck. It was so bad.
Oh jeez, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jocelyn. I
I
wish you were
just-
here to hear my condolences.
I was looking at my hand and I'm like, Jesus, this is ridiculous. I have 5 1-mana cards and they all synergize with each other. And I'm going to drop all of them the next turn. It was so stupid.
I know this is not the place we usually talk about this, but I recreated Chan Man's Hunter deck.
Oh, nice.
With the exception of King Crush, I threw in a Savannah High Main because I don't have a King
That
Crush.
works. Yeah.
Which is great, by the way. If someone kills it off and you're left with two hyenas on the turn that you unleash the hounds,
Sure.
it's just wonderful.
Extra. Yeah.
But I was playing against Ben, who used to do This Week in Blizz with me and now does A Move Radio with me. And he was playing as a priest, and he had a wonderful opening hand. He had, oh god, I'm trying to remember the cards. He had the Knife Juggler, and then what's the 1/3 that draws a card every time damage is dealt to it?
Every time damage is dealt to it. Oh, the Acolyte of Pain.
There you go. Yeah, he had the Knife Juggler and 2 Acolytes of Pain, and I just had nothing in my hand that could deal with the 2 Acolytes of Pain, and I already had guys on the board that did 2 damage. So he was just running them into those guys, and then healing them. But I got like a lucky summon random beast, like a 4/2 board with charge, and eventually cleared the board. And I was at such a deficit, and he was at full health, and I got
And
that
turn
perfect.
one, yeah.
I got that perfect draw of all my 1-drop guys, and I was sitting there. I was like, I have 2 mana left. Do I play my one more 1-drop beast and hope that my vulture gets me and unleash the hounds, or do I use my hero ability? I was like, go for broke, and I drop it, and I top deck and unleash the hounds.
That's how that deck works, man. I mean, I actually kind of coached Jocelyn on making that deck last night, and then we played, and then I played her with my shaman deck that's like kind of built just to beat like these cheese decks, you know?
Right.
And then I played her with a rogue deck that has no ability to stop it, and she just destroyed me in like 7 turns. I mean yeah, she had the exact same thing. I think she dropped it was like Buzzard, 1-drop, 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 and then I think she did 2 Unleash the Hounds on me. So
Oh wow.
it was pretty
okay.
brutal. Yeah.
Yeah, I've yet to get the double unleash the hounds off, but
It's brutal.
it's
Yeah.
it's rough. It's rough.
When you're sitting there on the other side and they start laying them down, you're like, oh man, are you serious? Like you start
Yeah.
counting your health and you're like, okay, that's gonna do 3 to me, that's gonna do 6 to me, that's gonna do 8 to me. You're like, oh no,
I'm dead. I'm dead.
Yeah.
There's lethal on the board. I'm at 26 health, and there's lethal on the board in 1 turn. That's
This
wonderful.
this is why I get why people who played Magic are like, please give us instant cards, like just something that I could do that says like instantly destroy one of those, you know?
Or just, imagine if you had counter target spell. You just no counter unleash the hounds. Thank you. Enjoy your 1/1s that can't attack this turn.
Yeah. Well, you can play the secret. You could play counterspell.
It's such a crapshoot.
Yeah,
Such
it
a
really
delightful crapshoot.
It really is. So we should talk about these things, how to deal with this card. We've talked about the Cleric, but how do you deal with the Cleric?
There's, when I originally went into this, I was like, well, the only way I could think of was like backstab for 2 damage and then hero power.
And then hero power, yeah.
For 1 on a rogue, which is great. But then as I started thinking about it, I'm like, what? There's a ton of ways to deal with
There's
this
a ton of
card.
ways, yeah.
Probably the best way actually is, what is it? Frostbolt.
Yeah, well,
Just
Frostbolt.
If you're a
But
mage,
then
just Frostbolt in turn 2.
Druids have Wrath for 2 mana, which does 3 damage as well. There's a ton of ways. Like a Druid doesn't have to claw and hero power. They can also just Wrath. Bang.
Yeah,
Done.
Wrath works.
Yeah.
I wanted to take this opportunity, by the way, because I don't think we've mentioned it on the show. I believe we did mention it in the coaching video we made. But Naturalize is the single worst piece of removal in the game at the moment. Don't play it, ever.
It's awful.
If you play it, you deserve to lose.
Well, okay. So Naturalize. I've heard the argument that you can put. So what Naturalize does is it costs 1 mana to use, so it's very cheap, and it'll just kill something, right? Anything you want, it'll just kill it, and then it will give the opponent 2 cards. And there was one point where I looked at this card and I was like, wait a minute, there could be something here. What about if I naturalize my own thing and then I draw 2 cards off of it? But that doesn't work. It always is your opponent. So you could naturalize your own stuff, and then you'd still give your opponent 2 cards. So like even that doesn't work. Like I thought, oh, this could work.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't.
It's like the only time I would play it is if I'm truly going to die next turn, and I'm just digging my hole deeper as a result.
Yeah. Saban just said, oh, you could do it only works when the opponent is in fatigue. So yeah, in that very one specific situation.
That is a really good point, actually. I have not thought about that.
Where your opponent is completely out of cards, you could make him draw 2. But
if we,
yeah,
we haven't brought up the whole, I guess, concept of sideboarding. And it looks as if, at least with the Team Liquid Open, that sideboarding isn't really even going to be a thing going forward. I
don't think it's going to be. I think with Hearthstone we're moving towards more of a build like 3 solid decks or whatever.
Right.
Or 1 solid. But you are going to see it somewhat.
Right. If you're listening and you don't know what sideboarding is, in Magic and in other CCGs, in a tournament, a lot of times you're playing the same person multiple times before a victor is decided.
It's like a best of 5 or something like that.
Yeah, right? Best of 3 is like what I play in. And a sideboard is 15 extra cards. Like when you go into a Magic tournament or any CCG tournament, you have your deck and you have to register that deck.
And your deck is 60 cards, right? In Magic?
If it's constructed, yes.
Okay.
If you're playing sealed or draft, it's 40.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. Even in sealed and draft, you still get a 15-card sideboard. And what that is, it's all to prevent cheating. So you don't like walk in like with your really awesome card to a draft where you're supposed to have random cards you found and slip it in.
Yeah.
But what your sideboard is 15 extra cards that you are legally allowed to swap in and out of your deck in between games.
Yeah. Yeah, so if the guy has some particular card and you can't deal with it, you have a card in your sideboard that can deal with it, and you chuck it in there.
Yeah. So Naturalize would be great if you knew your opponent had a card draw heavy deck.
Sure.
If it's just like, oh my, he's got nothing but gnomes, auctioneers, Northshire clerics.
Yeah, you can kind of counterfeit him with it. You know?
Right, exactly. I drew myself into fatigue this past week in a priest game, as a matter of fact, and I won with, I think, 1 life on board. I don't know. We'll get into it. But outside of that, I don't see this card being worth anything, at least at the moment, as it currently stands. It's such a benefit for your opponent, and it's really just kind of like a patch for yourself.
Yeah. And you could have it in Hearthstone. The problem is that all the sideboard cards would be the exact same. I think we mentioned this on another show at some point, but basically,
I think we did. Yeah.
Everybody would have like an ooze. Everyone would have like an owl or just silence. Basically, like everyone would have the same stuff. Everyone would have some sort of big taunt, like because they would go, okay, what is the thing that guy's playing? Okay, let me throw in the specific thing I need.
Right, exactly. And the way Team Liquid Open has been doing it is you actually come with 2 separate decks. So if you say you lose game 1, you now have to use your second deck. Yeah,
and you move on to the other deck. And hopefully, like basically what you end up doing for these types of tournaments is build 3 decks that kind of do different things. That way, if you lose, the other deck, like, okay, my first deck is a control deck, and I lost to an aggro deck. My second deck's aggro, so I'm going to out-aggro him. Like, there's just, you kind of want to have like decks that do different things so you can answer the different situations you're going to end up in. Right. Which I'm not actually doing very well right now. I got to be honest. Pretty much all my decks right now are control decks because that's just how I play.
Yeah. Even the Shaman's Hunter deck is still half control.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of doing that. I'm kind of doing the half control, and then each deck has a specific way for me to burst forward with a bunch of damage if that perfect scenario of cards lines up. So like my Shaman deck, I have the 7/5 stealth Ravenholt Assassins, and then I also have
those guys are so scary.
Yeah, and then I have the Windspeaker, and I also have Flame Tongue Totem. So like the Windspeaker gives another minion Wind Fury, so you can attack twice, and then I can put a Flame Tongue Totem down, which gives it +2. So now it's a 9/5, and I can also give it friggin' whatchamacallit, the +3.
Bloodlust.
Well, then I can also bloodlust, yeah. But I can also give it a rockbiter weapon.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
it's
can
just-
do all sorts of stuff to like buff its attack and then make it attack twice. So I can, I can basically attack you for like 30 in one turn with one card if that situation comes up.
Yeah, but it's a perfect storm, and there's a lot of what ifs in there.
Exactly. A lot of what ifs.
So, but yeah, I guess to bring
Naturalize terrible.
yeah, basically somehow we've got into sideboarding and stuff like that. But
Well, here's why Naturalize is terrible. Because if you're wondering like why it's bad, you basically every time you play it, you 3-for-1 yourself. You gave the guy 2 cards, you killed one of his card, and you spent 1 card doing it. So you spent 1 card and like one of your cards equaled 3 of his cards. He now has 3 cards.
Yep, no good, not
Yeah,
worth it.
not worth it.
Druid has some of the best removal in the game, and Naturalizes, at least as it stands, not one of them.
You don't need this card at all. I mean, there's so many other ways to get rid of stuff with the Druid. So
Yep. Also, the Northshire Cleric, if they buff it at all, it becomes such an attractive target for silence.
yeah. And you're starting to see less people put Spellbreakers in their decks and Owls because I think most of this is just due to the Twilight Drake nerf. Nerf. So that 1 card alone made everybody run Silence before.
Right.
Because you'd have a 7/7 that if you Silence became a 1/1, and now it's not quite as important to silence.
It was, again, it was a 3/3 or a 4/4 before.
Yeah.
But
It was a 1/1.
okay, and it
was a
used to
1/1,
get
then
used
it
to
would-
get +1/+1 for
+1/+1
every card in
for
your
each
hand.
Yes.
Now it just gets +0/+1 for every card in your hand.
Sabin is acting as Jocelyn today and says, "What's some other Druid removal?" Well, there's Starfire and Starfall.
If Star is in the name, you should have it in your deck.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
Starfire, Starfall. You got Claw, which is basically gives your hero 2 attack and 2 armor. Bite gives your hero 4 attack and 4 armor.
Swipe, which is by far my favorite thing in the entire game.
Yeah. They got Swipe. They have all the removal in the world. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then Wrath, which is a spell that you can decide if we want to do it 3 damage or 1 damage and draw a card.
Yeah, which is nothing makes me happier than I'm like, oh, this guy has 1 health left. Sweet, I get to draw a card and kill it.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But Druids have so much removal, it's just crazy. I mean, that was one of the decks that I'm definitely going to be playing in almost every tournament. Is this? Basically, it's just a solid Druid deck. It's got all the removal and it's got really solid creatures in it, and it wins. I'd say like 90% of games, even at the 3-star master level. It's just you just can't beat it. No one can find an answer to it really.
It's a damn good deck.
It's good. Yeah. My mage deck I'm having a lot of trouble with. Everyone's telling me, oh, mages are so strong right now.
I have so much trouble. I have more trouble with them and warlocks than any other hero in the game.
Yeah. No, I mean, when they play against me, they do well. But for whatever reason, I'm not putting it together right. I don't know. I don't
That's
know
how
what
I
it
felt
is.
with the Hunter deck, and then I don't know, something just clicked. I finally kind of got into I figured out when I should play certain cards and when I should not. And I guess if I were to walk away from that with anything, is don't give up on your deck. If you read it, like if you read into a deck strategy and you're like, well, okay, I know this deck works well, but I've never played it before. Just keep playing games with it until you figure out, because so much of it becomes the meta of your own deck and not just trying to figure out what your opponent is doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like every deck can be good if played correctly, you know. Well, not every deck, but I mean, like every successful type deck
Right.
can be good if you figure out how to play it. So it could be that I haven't figured out how to play mage yet, but I don't know. See, I'm doing the stuff that mages do against me and totally works, but I can't seem to make it happen for me. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
We'll look into that next time we do a VOD for coaching.
Oh, absolutely.
That'd be interesting. Anyways, second piece of strategy discussion I wanted to bring up was via an email from listener Ryan, who wanted to talk about what dictates a card's owner. He wrote, actually a rather lengthy email. I cut it down as best I could.
This is all about priests then. We're talking
Pretty
about
much.
priests right now.
It's anti-priest day is what we're doing here. He said, I was piloting a rogue deck that was experimenting with a flicker style mechanic similar to Magic the Gathering, which is using minions with Battle Cry, then putting them back into my hand to play them again for added value, basically using what you use Shadow Step or Vanish or the pandas.
Yeah, you can panda them back in.
Yeah. So he said he played against a priest. He used an ancient brewmaster to return a Defius ringleader to his hand.
So you can play it again and then
Yep.
get another 2/1 out of it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he played it again, passed the turn. The priest mind controlled the brewmaster, hit him for some damage, passed the turn. He said he top decked a Vanish, which states return all minions to their owner's hands. He said, I naturally assumed that being the owner of the brewmaster that I would get him back. I played Vanish, and it goes to my opponent's hand, and he bounces a Dark Scale Healer for super value, then trounces me in the turns to come.
Okay.
So it basically says he was really confused by the phrasing of this card, and Blizzard needs to differentiate between controller and owner.
Well, there isn't a differentiation here, and that's, I think, the lesson learned. So the science on this is that there's no such thing as a controller. There is only owners, and you own whatever's in front of you. It doesn't matter what deck it came out of.
Exactly. If it is over the line, it is that person's card.
Yeah, yeah. So there's lots of ways that you can, I mean, to me, this is the way it should work. I mean, I think that if I mind control your brewmaster, and then you vanish, you shouldn't get the brewmaster back. That shouldn't be like the anti-mind control card. You like, I am now the owner of this card. So everything he says to me was just like, okay, yeah, all this makes sense. Mr. Teal's asking, what is bounce? What we're saying by bounce is if you send a card back into your hand, basically.
Or anyone's hand.
No matter how you do it. Yeah, no matter how you do it. You take it off the board and send it back into someone's hand. That's bouncing. So think about it, I put it on the board and then it came back. It's a bounce.
Right, and sometimes it's beneficial to you, or sometimes it's beneficial to do it to an opponent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like if, say, there's a card that has a bunch of enchantments on it. Say you're playing against a priest. They have a card out. They've interfired the sucker a bunch of times along with Power Word Shield. So they've got like 3 cards sunk into this thing. It is a huge just monster, and you don't have removal. But you do have a way to return it to your opponent's hand. You do that, it loses all the enchantments. You
exactly. It goes in there raw, basically.
But they don't get the enchantments back.
No, they do not. They get the raw card back. But here's the thing, though, too, is you can also bounce cards back to your hand and, in essence, heal them. So if you have, say, like one of the best examples of this is Ysera, which is the legendary that gives you dream cards, and we talked a lot about it last week. Or 2 weeks ago or whatever. But Ysera, actually, one of the dream cards Ysera gives you is a 0-mana card that actually returns any minion to its owner's hand, right? So if they damage Ysera down but don't quite kill her.
Or silence her.
Or silence her, you can bounce her back into your hand, play her again on the very next turn because it costs 0 to do so.
Yeah, it heals them to full and removes all effects, friendly and negative.
Removes the silence, does all that. So basically, think about when a card goes back into someone's hand, it gets totally reset. It is now the fresh card again.
Right.
But Joe Brewer in the chat makes a good point. Yeah, if it's a sheep,
or a frog.
It's a sheep that goes into your hand, not the original card. Yeah.
Yeah, if they get transformed into a different card entirely, in the case of Polymorph, which gives you a sheep, or Hex, which gives you a frog, you just get the sheep or frog.
Yeah.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
This is actually pretty funny because the first time I saw this, I realized Blizzard made a card form of every single type of minion that can be on the board. So, like, if you cast, like, say, Spellbreaker or Spellbender, Spellbender will then create a 1/3 to take the brunt of your spell, right? But let's say, like, your spell was something that didn't actually kill it. It was like a silence or a mind control or something. Mm-hmm. That 1/3 will then stay in existence on the board. And if that were to get bounced back into your hand, there is a card for that little guy. Yep. Like every single one.
The snakes from Snake Trap. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, they all have their own version of a card. So it's Blizzard was ready for this, and I to me this is, like I said, this is the way this card is supposed to work. If it's in front of me, it's my card. It doesn't matter how it got there. It doesn't matter whose deck it came out of. And there's a couple of things you can do here. You can Shadow Madness something into your hand, which Shadow Madness only takes, minions with 3 or less attack, and it only takes them for 1 turn, right? So what you use Shadow Madness for is to take one of their cards that has 3 attack, and then run it into another one of their cards, so they both die, right? So in essence, you're 2-for-1-ing your opponent.
Yeah,
with
that's
Shadow Madness.
the best case scenario with Shadow
Yeah.
Madness. But now you brought up an issue I have with the state of mind control in general that what was his name, Ryan, didn't bring up, which is the difference between Shadow Madness and mind control.
Yeah.
There's nothing to indicate a difference between the state of the two, other than the fact that Shadow Madness returns the card to its proper owner at the end of a turn. When you mind control something, it acts as if you just played it and you cannot attack with it. But if you Shadow Madness something, you can attack that turn, which makes sense because you have to return it. But it doesn't indicate anywhere that that's the case. I find it odd that they're both quote unquote mind controlling, but mind control, you can't do jack with that card until your next turn. I think that requires indication.
True.
I don't think the owner needs any more clarification because I don't want a book printed on all my cards.
That's a really good point, actually. I'm looking at the card, and it doesn't say gain control of an enemy minion with 3 or less attack, and then also give it haste. Yeah, like it doesn't.
Or charge. Sorry, haste is magic.
Yeah, haste.
Sorry,
is
guys.
magic.
Played a lot of
we
Magic.
We both said haste, and I don't even play Magic.
I played a lot of Magic at Kyle's bachelor party. I apologize.
But no, it's true. It's weird. I guess like they figured that it's implied because of the fact that you only get it for the turn. So what would be the point of taking it without it being able to attack? I don't know.
Literally, the only difference in verbiage is Shadow Madness says gain control, and Mind Control says take control.
Yeah, I guess. That's weird. But yeah, all right. The thing I was going to say though about, and someone just said it in chat too. I was going to say about the Shadow Madness is that, and this has a lot to do with Ryan's question, is you can Shadow Madness something and then panda it back into your hand, and then you actually now keep it forever.
True.
So there's not a lot of cases where I would do this, but if it's like a really quality card or something, I might do it. But that's one of those things where technically Shadow Madness doesn't even permanently give me that card, but even just the fact that it's on my side of the board for one turn means that if I panda that card back, it's mine. So if I were to then play Vanish, which you couldn't unless I stole a Vanish from a rogue, but let's say I Shadow Madness and then I Vanish, right? Mm-hmm. I would get that card that I Shadow Madness back into my hand because it's in front of me at that moment.
I think the easier thing is just say Brewmaster because you could
actually but I mean, like in this particular case, like that's like because that sends everything back, right? And in that case, I would get whatever's in front of me. Doesn't matter how it got there. So.
Is it over the line? It's yours.
Yep, exactly.
Or is it on your side of the line?
Yeah.
This is a better way to phrase that. So that's See, I feel like Shadow Madness and Mind Control need some kind of differentiation in their verbiage, but I don't think ownership does because going back to other CCGs, there's just words that are printed on cards with no explanation. You're just expected to have read up on it and know what it does. Yeah,
but there's plenty of cards in the game where if you read it, it's very clear what it does. But yeah, there's some scenarios that you just highlighted one.
Yeah.
That they need to clear this up for sure.
Yeah. Another one, which I'm sure we'll cover in another episode, and I promise we're not going to get into it right now, is the order in which damage is like allocated with multi-damage things, especially when certain cards have death rattles or order is. I'm trying to think of an example, and I can't think of it at the moment, but.
Well, there's some. Okay, so there's some.
The Resurrection Paladin one, when something dies, it's res with 1 life. Well, if 3 things all die at the exact same time, which
one gets resurrected?
Dictates which one gets resurrected, right? And that's not necessarily something I think we need to get into at the moment. But
no, but it is. It's definitely true. Or like, what order does stuff that happens at the end of the turn take effect? Like if there's a card that says like deal at the end of your turn, like Baron Geddon, deal 2 damage to everything. Then you also have a healing totem on the board. Give everything 1 health, all your friendly minions. Like, does that mean it would kill the totem and then nothing gets healed? And actually, no. The way it works is it would actually kill everything, but then before the game decides that everything is dead, it would then go, what else is there to do? Oh, heal everything. Okay, never mind. They're not dead.
So in that case, it happens simultaneously.
Well, one happens, then the game goes, is anything dead? Does anything have 0 health? So it's kind of weird. Like the game actually checks for death after all effects have been applied.
Gotcha. So technically, effects are happening simultaneously. They're just showing you them separately for the sake of understanding it.
The animation is like, here's one, then here's another,
Gotcha.
and then
Okay. All right.
yeah,
Gotcha.
it's
So-
kind of weird. I didn't know about that either until recently. I saw it. I think it was just like someone else's video on that or something like that.
Yeah. This comes down to some of the funky stuff. We've talked about this game for 4 weeks now, and we're like, yeah, seems pretty close to done. But there's stuff like this where you're just like, not sure what they mean by this, or what the rule is on this specific interaction.
Yeah.
So, but hey, again, I'm coming to it as a spoiled brat who also plays a CCG that's been around longer than I've been alive. So there's that. Actually, I have no idea how long Magic has been around, but
Longer than you've been alive,
okay.
I think.
Longer than 26 years?
No, probably not actually.
Close to it. Damn near. We'll put it that way. It's
I
almost
think it's
as
like
old
20
as I
years old or something like that.
am. Okay. All right. But, Hearthstone, been playable for a few months. We'll cut him some slack.
Good old Iceworm knows. 1993.
Okay. All right. So I've not quite.
Yeah.
Quite. I'm not.
You're not that young, Garrett. Jeez, man. Still trying to make me feel old.
Don't worry.
I don't even know about Blink 182. Who is this Blink 182?
Who's
All the
Blink
little
187 with all the
all
little
those
things?
little things and what's your age again? And, yeah, spilling orange juice on the carpet or something. What are they talking? Never mind. Now I'm getting real deep. Now you can tell I actually do listen.
It's
to Blink
it's
182.
apple juice, sir. Get your lyrics correct.
Sorry.
May have listened to all of their albums on the way home today because it was a 4-hour drive.
Oh, and that's a good time to. You're getting excited.
Yeah,
I get it.
absolutely. I was like, sweet. I have a reason to bust out the Blink-182 again.
I like how everybody except you was probably confused by that reference. Like, what? Juice on the carpet?
Apple juice, sir. First Blink song I ever learned because all I had was an acoustic and it didn't have a lot of distortion. So there's that. All my friends were learning, damn it, I didn't have a distortion pedal.
You're like, screw you guys and your coolness.
I'm learning Adam's song. I hope there's like 3 garage band kids who are just like, yeah, right now. I hope so, because there's that. Anyways, let's take some let's talk about some crazy game stories from the week, Dill.
Let's do it.
Since you were missing from last week, I will let you go first.
Oh, I actually didn't write down. I probably have like way more. And I think actually last night, I did like 6 arena runs last night. And I think I had some people literally watch me for the entire 12 hours I was there. And some people were like, dude, you got to talk about these tomorrow. And I'll be honest, Berserker Gnome, the Lore Walker Cho scenario that happened at the end of the night is a little fuzzy in my brain right now. I don't quite remember. I don't quite remember everything that went down with Lore Walker Cho,
So
but
just-
I will find out later.
We'll
and,
take this opportunity to just pimp your stream and tell people to just go watch the VOD. Check that
Yeah.
out.
Well, I'd never played with Lore Walker Cho before, so people who don't know, it's a legendary. It's a 0/4, no attack at all. But every time somebody casts a spell, it will then go to the other person's hand. It doesn't only help me; it helps both parties. So I got this hunter deck, and I got Lore Walker Cho. I was like, oh, okay, I really want to try this out. I've never played with it before. So I'll draft it, and then I'll try to not draft any spells the whole rest of this draft, which is kind of hard, actually. Because, like, Kill Command shows up, and you're like, well, I need Kill Command. But, so then I tried to play it, and it went horribly.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Did not work out very well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like that card. I don't know. It's fun though. It's fun. I'll work with it some more. I think I only played 2 games out of that run, so I still got some chances to deal with it. But I want to talk about what I did with Ysera, and that was, so I was down to 5 life. I'm playing a priest. I was against a warrior, and I was at that moment I was at 8-2. So this is like the make it or break it game, and I'm down to 5 life, which basically means like he could top deck an Arcanite Reaper, a weapon with 5 attack, and just bang kill me. So I have Ysera in my hand, but I didn't feel like my best play against the warrior was just to throw it down, like with 5 health, But I got a taunt in my hand, so I was like, okay, I'll put that down, then I'll heal myself, and then I'll play it next turn. And then he doesn't have anything, but he does play like an 8/8 and armors up. So then I get top deck Power Word Shield. I play Ysera, and then I shield her, so now she's a 4/14,
Oh, jeez.
which is pretty awesome. And then the card I get,
Because Ysera wasn't good enough already.
yeah, exactly. And then the shield draws me Inner Fire, which basically makes the attack and health equal, right? So now I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to make Ysera 14/14 next turn. But then the card Ysera gives me is Nightmare, which gives +5/+5. So,
Oh my god.
yeah, so then on the next turn, the warrior kills my taunt and plays like another creature, and then he's going to kill me next turn. But then I play Nightmare, turn it into a 9/19, and then Inner Fire, 19/19, and then I swing for 19 and kill it.
Oh,
And 9 wins!
I wish I was in the room with that warrior when it happened.
I know, right? He was just like, well, it's cool, he's low enough, so I'm gonna whatever, and then actually, so Saban's making a good point. I should have just lost the game on purpose because 8 wins gets you more gold. Which I've now proven the science on because I didn't have enough information yet. But last night, my 9-1 with the priest, 210 gold. My 8-3 with the paladin, 265 gold. So
Well, that's only from a sample of 2.
1-to-1, dude. That's all you need to know, Garrett. Look.
I'm pretty sure it's random, and
No,
sometimes you just get.
it is random, but there is actually people who have done like long-term statistical analysis on this. And in general, you get more gold with 8 wins.
Okay, but what if like you had gotten 2 packs on your 9 wins? And all
Well,
of a
that's
sudden,
the thing. That's the other thing, though, is that on that 9 win, I got 2 packs. So I
that's
got
150 gold extras
55
worth of.
less gold, but I got another pack. So that's a 45 gold pack or whatever. You know, it's
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't question my science again, okay?
Oh, sorry, Dennis.
I'm very, very particular about these things. But yeah, I'm sure I have a ton more. I just don't remember them all right now, and some of them because I was drunk, and some because I just don't remember.
I
got a
went
lot of videos up, so
I went into the doc, must have been 4 times this week. Like, all right, this is my story for the week, and then something better would happen. I was like, no, this is my story for the week.
nice.
So
What do
I decided, that I would tell you guys the story of my 1 life victory, because I was just so surprised that I won. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was dead for sure. So I was playing as my shaman, and I played against just the most obnoxious priest deck that I've played against in a while. He had the standard 2 Shadow Word Pains, 2 Shadow Word Deaths, 2 Mind Controls, Shadow Madness, 1 Cabal Priest. So he killed or mind controlled literally every goddamn thing I had.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so frustrating.
yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, but via this and some Northshire clerics, to tie this in with our discussion from earlier, he drew way too many cards. Like which normally is a great thing, but he had like milled himself out completely by like turn 11 or something crazy.
You should tell everybody what milled out means. 'Cause
Milling
that's
is
a magic card.
Technically milling is causing your opponent to discard cards, put them directly in the graveyard or what. In this case, he was putting them in his hand and playing them, but he had no cards to draw by like turn 11 or 12. I write these after the fact, and I wasn't recording it, so I couldn't get it 1 for 1 exactly. But the basic idea stands. Also, along the way, he brought me down to 1 life, and he was sitting at 30 because he's a priest, and that's what they do.
Sure. They don't take damage.
So 30-1.
Okay.
Whatever the case, over the course of a couple turns, I pulled some much-needed lightning storms and cleared the board. Then I traded like my Unbound Elemental for his Unbound Elemental that he had copied with a
Because
Thought
priests should
Steal.
have Unbound Elementals.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I played a Thought Steal, got my Unbound Elemental. And I won the game because that Unbound Elemental was the last card in his hand.
So all he could do at that point was heal himself and hope that like somehow
And he had
you
already
ran out of cards first.
Yeah, and he was already bleeding. He was already taking fatigue damage for, I want to say, 3 turns.
Oh my god.
When I killed that last Unbound Elemental. I had no cards on the board after I traded, but like I could have just, kept making totems, and I think I had like 10 or like 12 cards still left to draw from.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy because that means you outlasted all of that crap. Mm-hmm. That's hard to do against the priest.
I love my shaman deck, and I don't feel dirty when I win with my shaman deck. I feel like I'm winning and not breaking the game. Whereas when I play my priest and win, I'm like, I'm getting away with something dirty.
I know, yeah. I literally named my priest deck O Priest because it's OP. It's stupid.
I like that.
It's the dumbest. Like they need to change priest so much. And I hope they don't like do what they did with rogues and nerf them into the ground. But in the next go around, we're gonna see priests are gonna get
absolutely
pretty hard.
I still love my rogue though. I did just have a quick bonus round for the crazy stories. I played against the worst rogue ever. I took my new hunter deck out for a spin. The hunter or the rogue I was playing against shivved my hunter for one damage. Drew a card. And then he comboed a cold blood onto my Misha, the 4/4 bear with taunt. So
I know exactly why he did this.
Why?
Because I've done this myself. He thought that cold blood was eviscerate. Every rogue has done this at some point.
No, they haven't. I've never done this because I
never accidentally.
I have functioning eyeballs.
Okay.
I've never done this.
See, the problem with those cards is one says, "Oh, give something 2 or 4," and then the other one says, "Attack for 2 or 4." It's very confusing.
All right, I see that now. Gary. I guess I see that now. Okay.
Yeah,
but
he thought he was killing Misha. Is what happened.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that's just like, and God bless him, he didn't leave the game. He just did one of the oops.
Yeah, he's like, wait a minute.
Right click, oops, and.
Well, I misclick myself all the time. Like last night, I was trying to play the paladin card that makes something have only one attack. Like it was like an 8/8 or something like that.
Equality, I believe. Or that's all minions, but yeah.
No, it's I can't remember what it is, but it makes it only have one attack, right? Mm-hmm. And then it was right below humility. Thank you, chat. It was right below my character. The card was. So instead of grabbing the card, I grabbed my character, which I had a weapon, and attacked it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I did 8 damage to my face and didn't even kill the damn thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful. I've done that.
Say I lost that game.
Yeah, I've absolutely done that. I make mistakes all the time, but this is the first time I can think of somebody making just a grave error and it being in my favor. I was just like, really? And like, I was like, do I attack with it? I'm like,
You know what the honorable thing to do there, right? You should have conceded.
No, no, never. I am out. If I am playing a card game, I am out for blood.
Or what you should have done is you should have only attacked with your bear like every other turn. You got to be honorable, Gary.
Yeah, needless to say, this game was over really quick. So, hey, for whoever that was, I'm sorry, dude, and thanks for the funny story.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah,
we have
it'll happen again. Watch, you'll see. That card is like the number one card that gets mistaken because of the fact that they both like say almost the same exact thing.
Okay.
One is 2 mana and one is 1 mana. Though. That should be your biggest indicator.
And completely different cards and art and English words on them.
That's true.
Nonetheless, I'm just ripping on people now. If I wrote down every mistake I made during the week, it'd be a long list. So let's take some emails and move on from this, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, our first email from this week comes to us from Josh, and he says, on your last episode, number 3, you talked about card disenchanting. He said that I feel like the comparison to a cardboard trading card game is fair, but you missed a key difference. In a cardboard card game, once the card is printed, it will never change. These are digital cards with absolutely no physical representations. If a card was bad, Blizzard could always tweak it to be even playable. He said that to him, this makes shredding and disenchanting cards that you don't already have 2 copies of a little reckless. This is basically saying that, what could be a crappy card might be the best card ever after a patch.
It's crappy now, and then, Blizzard buffs it later, and suddenly it's like, oh, man, I wish I hadn't done that. Mm-hmm. And, I get his point, for sure. The way I feel, though, is it's not that big of a deal unless you're talking about, like, a legendary.
Right. I feel like at no point last week did I advocate, like this card is crap, just shred it. That's not what I meant. pretty much stuck to saying that I think this is a personal choice. If for me, I hate Warrior. I just don't like playing it, and I would rather disenchant those cards and build a deck I want to play.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing.
Personal choice.
You're basically what you're doing is you're deciding like, okay, is it more important for me to hold on to this card for the fact that I'm like, there's a couple reasons why you never disenchant anything. It's because either like, oh, I'm a completionist, like I want every card in the game, or like I like this type of reason, like, well, it could become good at some point, so I don't want to get rid of it. But at some point, you have to make that choice. Like, I want to make this deck now, so I have a good deck right now.
Exactly.
And to do that, you're going to have to sacrifice some of those other ones. So I generally don't disenchant like that many cards, but you have to make some choices here and there, and you have to go, I need a Pyroblast, so I got to get rid of this thing, and it's just going to happen. So generally, I try to keep it to just like crappy gold cards, like a gold card that's like, well, I'm not going to use that card ever. I'll disenchant that; it's extra dust.
Right.
But I've disenchanted my fair share of stuff too.
Yeah, I talked
so
about
I'm on your side on this one.
Yeah. I talked about it last week. I disenchanted a gold-nosed Dormu.
There you go. Well, that I would definitely a gold nose.
I don't like it
because you can decide which legendary you want, like right then and there.
Exactly. I can then
use
decide.
1,600 dust for that thing.
Or I can recreate my Shaman deck from before the wipe that has gone on to win me many games. So,
by the way, breaking news: Brian Ibbett is doing battle in the arena right now.
no way.
Yes,
Oh, he needs to stream.
that's
He
awesome.
really needs to stream.
Can I chat him up right now? I got to get in the game to do that. Okay, I kind of want to find out how he's doing.
Anyways, you want to take the next email?
Sure. Where are we at? Oh, Matt. Okay. Is it just me? This email from Matt. Or do y'all wish, I like his southern drawl here, do y'all wish that you could put the cards in your hand in a different order? I like to group combos together to help keep track of what I have and what I want to do. When I can't organize them, I make mistakes. Think we'll see this feature at any point. Thanks, guys. I would be okay with this, but I don't think that you should be able to see the cards move from the opponent's side.
Why?
Because then it'd be harder to keep track of which card the opponent like just drew. I don't want to have to constantly be like staring at the opponent's hand, seeing what he's doing.
Doesn't matter.
Seeing that
which
he's
card
moving them around.
Does it matter?
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
card? How so?
Because you can tell like what card, like what potential cards they might have based on how they play their cards. And, like, oh, he's been holding on to that card right there for like a long time. That's a mind control. I do that all the time. I'm always like checking what card he played and then looking at, what he hasn't played to figure out. It's like poker. You try to figure out what the other guy's hand is.
And in poker, you can arrange the cards any way you want.
Well, yeah, but in poker, there's less possibilities. There's 52 cards. There's not 300 cards.
Very true. But I think this should absolutely be in the game.
Well, I'm not saying it shouldn't be. I'm just saying like that if you do this, there's a very big metagame right now with like the emotes, like how quickly you play cards, how much you're thinking about stuff. Every time you hover over something, I can see it. You can't take that away because that's going to take away part of the skill of this game. And if you're not paying attention to that, Garrett, you really should be because you're going to find some stuff. You're going to notice.
Well, I play a lot of constructed, so I always play by the rules of 2 anyway. I'm constantly assuming they have the card that's going to screw me.
That's a good assumption as well. Yeah, I always assume that if I'm about to play my big legendary, he's definitely got a mind control in there.
The card they could be holding on to could equally be just a piece of crap that's going to do nothing for them as much as it could be a mind control.
Well, here's the other thing too, though. If I could see what you were doing and you start organizing your cards like 1 to 2 mana, 3, 4. Then you're just absolutely telling me what you have because every time you get a card, you shuffle it over here, and I start noticing like, oh crap, he always plays the low mana cards from the right side of his deck. Like it's helping both sides.
If it's a hunter, it's all ones. It doesn't matter. I think you should be able to shuffle them.
But I think be able to shuffle them, but don't change the view for the other player because. That's going to get dangerous.
I wouldn't disagree with that, but at the same time, Oh man, I think this is the first time you and I have really disagreed on something on the show. I'm just like, but
Well, no, we're not even disagreeing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you implement it, you got to make sure that your opponent can't see what you're doing, because that's just like almost game breaking. Like, if I'm always sorting my cards, then any kind of player who's observing what I'm doing is going to know exactly what I'm doing, and that's too dangerous.
well, you
Like,
could just
can't let
really
that
you could
happen.
really just mess with them then. You're like, well,
You
my one
could.
goes in the middle, my 3-drop goes on the
You
left, and my
could.
8-drop always.
Yeah, but see, I'm playing Hearthstone. I'm not playing like the 7th inning stretch where they put the ball under the hat and like I got to follow the ball everywhere it goes. Like, I don't want to play that game. I want to play Hearthstone. Like, I don't want to think about how he's sorting the cards. I just want to, know, okay, he just drew that card. That's where that card is. That card on the left is the card he hasn't played in a really long time. It's important information. So just don't mess with that, Blizzard. Don't mess with that.
I think you should mess with the Blizzard. Mess with it. Make it like an actual card game. Mess with
Okay.
it. But thanks you for your emails, guys. And also, who was it? Ryan, who we included that email in the strategy section. So I think nothing is left then now, Dills, than to congratulate our first 51 winners.
Oh my God. This is going to be like The Price is Right, but like just that one segment where they call people down for a really long time.
I'm not going to sit here and read 51 names. I'm not going to do that. They just said that somehow this had to be public. So all 51 winners are going to be listed on the same post that I made on amove.tv tomorrow. I'll have that up tomorrow. We're also going to since everyone gave us their emails, a beta key will be emailed directly to you. You don't need to claim your prize.
There you go.
So it doesn't matter. But for the sake of making everything transparent, here is live crowd, or if you're watching the VOD, right here, random.org. This is the first 51 set of numbers I drew between the numbers 1 and 557 was how many people entered before the cutoff, which was last night at midnight.
Notice that 557 was a winner.
So was 1. Or no,
Really?
no, never mind.
16.
No, sorry,
Never
16.
mind. Set one though.
16.
Yeah.
So, whatever the case, yeah. So if you go in here, and then here's our spreadsheet. Here's all the winners. Here's the winners. I blocked out their email so you can't pester them to give them your key. I guess I have 1 in there. I can remove that. That's sorry if you're number 1. Sorry, but whatever the case, yeah. So 16 and 553. It's so here you go. It was a random poll. We're not playing favorites. There is that, because I'm sure somebody somewhere are going to say that we're doing something nefarious. I don't know. So
Oh yeah. Well, we definitely are, right?
absolutely.
Always up to something.
Yeah, as you know, of course. So after BlizzCon, we're going to pull another 51 winners.
Yeah.
Once we decide when we're going to record the first episode after BlizzCon, we'll let you know the cutoff date.
Well, so that's the thing. If you didn't win this time, don't worry. There's another one.
There's another blast
Another
of Angry Chicken
51,
giveaways
yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
So congrats to everyone who win. Big thanks to Blizzard for donating the keys, and an even bigger thanks to Jocelyn, who's not here today, who just was a total baller and literally entered all 557 emails by hand into a
pretty good.
spreadsheet, and then randomly assigned numbers from 1 to 557 because she didn't want like the people who entered first to be in the lower numbers. She wanted it to be as random could be.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
And it should be.
Big thanks to her. Big thanks to her. So cool stuff. So there's that. Dills, I guess we're going to be doing an episode live from BlizzCon.
Oh yeah, absolutely we will. What day? We said we have like a scheduled time, right?
Saturday at 10 a.m.
Oh my God, I'm not even gonna be awake.
It's okay. I'm going to be sitting there with my coffee, trying to drink away the drinks from the night before.
Yeah,
So,
I'll make it work.
yeah. Well, I did that because I think we both looked at the schedule and were like, yeah, there's nothing going on from 10 to 11 at BlizzCon that we
Not really
want to see. Sorry, Music of Diablo panel. I just don't really.
Sorry.
Don't really. Not that into it. I mean, I love the music. It's great. I just would rather see the Heroes of the Storm presentation and the WCS
Yeah, exactly.
matches.
There's I mean, Blink-182 is not playing at 10 a.m. on Saturday, right?
That would be really great if they were. If I could come in my
funny.
pajamas with like a bagel egg sandwich and just like, oh yeah, all the little things. That's great.
I'm really looking forward to the Hearthstone tournament. That's the one thing I was like, can't miss that.
Yep, and we'll be able
I'm going to watch all of that.
Oh yeah, we'll be there for that. I'm also looking forward to the emails we get next week. It's all the small things, guys, from the people who didn't hear us explaining the joke at the top of the show. That'll be fun. So,
All the little things.
anyways, thanks for listening, everyone. Big thanks to everyone who left us 5-star reviews in the iTunes store this past week. Thanks to Smatty17, Neoz1, who said it's the perfect symmetry with the host, the know-it-all, in a good way, and the modest one that isn't afraid to ask what everyone is thinking.
Don't call Jocelyn a know-it-all, man. That's mean.
It's really just terrible. It's a terrible racist assumption about Canadians. It's a bad thing. Thanks to Explode77, the original Super Scuba, SDS Tash, and Kie Shao Shu. I don't know. Thanks for your reviews, everyone. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. The reviews help us and help other people find this show. So keep doing that.
In the strange, ethereal world that is iTunes rankings.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
It all makes sense, I'm sure. There's a formula. So
yeah. So
it's science, Garrett.
Science!
Stop with science so much.
I would agree with that if it was actually science. The Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv and the Frog Pants Studios. You can see more about this and all of the other shows over on amove.tv. Bookmark that site. And make sure you check out all of the other fine shows over at frogpants.com as well. You can email us at tacpodcast@gmail.com. And we record live, usually Monday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern on amove.tv/live. Obviously, we recorded a day early because I'm going to be out of town tomorrow. And are you going to be in town the Monday following BlizzCon?
Yeah, I'll be around.
Okay, then we'll do a show because I'll be back as well.
We'll have to figure out, what makes sense, I think.
Okay, so
we'll have two shows really quickly if we do that. So I don't know. We'll see.
True, but there'll be a lot to talk about because there'll be a whole second day.
We'll be fresh back, so there's gonna be all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not sure we'll be able to pull in Jocelyn at the venue. We're gonna try our damnedest, though.
In my experience, it's really hard to include someone who's not there in a live show.
Yeah, and hotel internet is not.
Yeah,
you can't trust it. It's not good. So whatever the case, probably plan on a show the Monday following, and we're going to hopefully have a show up Saturday if the internet at my hotel allows me to actually upload the MP3.
Absolutely.
That'll be nice. So follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast. I am at Garrett Art. Dills is at Willie Dills, and Jocelyn is at GIS Gamer. Big thanks to Brian Griffith, who did our intro music. You can follow him at briangriffithmusic.com or at Brian Griffith on Twitter. Finally, my final pimp, check out nomoonart.com for my graphic design work. I always am available for freelance. But Dills, where can people find you?
Well, before I tell you guys where to find me, I want to give a shout out to the guild leader for Pone Cakes and Raffles on Proudmoore for the key, tune name, Anna Brandwin. I don't know how to say that. Vegas Bomb, Bryce, and Berserker Gnome. And you guys are awesome.
They all donated keys to your stream?
Yeah, well, there's been some stream donations and some other stuff, so it's very, very cool stuff, everybody. Find me on twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF. You can find me on the Instance. You can find me on Torchcast, MGA Mediacast, blah, 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 blah. There you go.
All right. Go do that. And check out Jocelyn on the Gamers Inn right here on amove.tv every Friday at, I believe, 9:30 p.m. I hope I'm not lying. Might be 8:30. I think it's 8:30. I think I'm lying accidentally. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry. It is 8:30 Eastern time. And please check out our sponsors. We really thank them for their support. DoghouseSystems.com. The code is TAC for the Angry Chicken, and that gets you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig.
Yeah, they were really, really, really generous yesterday during the streaming marathon. So very cool, guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, dude, I totally forgot to end the notes. Go to slashloot.com because there is an Angry Chicken t-shirt now available.
Ooh, that's right. Mine is coming in time for BlizzCon, apparently.
Is it? Yes. I was told mine should get here in time, but I haven't got any kind of tracker, so I'm not actually sure if it's getting here on time.
I don't know. I was told, basically I was told, no problem. So
rush order, go.
Hopefully that means, hopefully that means we'll be both sporting Angry Chicken t-shirts on the floor of BlizzCon.
Yes, and there's going to be those really awkward photos where we're wearing the same exact shirt.
Man, we should have called each other. Oh, wait. And this is what we decided to do.
Wonderful. So everyone, thanks for listening. We'll hopefully see a lot of you at BlizzCon. We're going bowling Thursday night at the Bullmore Lanes at the Anaheim Garden Walk. So come to that. It's at 9 p.m. It's right down the street if you want to hang out with some of us. Gonna have a good time. Anyways, until then, job done.
Job's done.